The plan was simple, at least it seemed that way on paper, scribbled in messy handwriting under the glow of a street lamp. We'd talked about it for weeks, daring each other, hyping it up until it felt like something we had to do. Spend the night in Blackwood Asylum and live stream it for my channel, Leo's Legends. The place had a reputation, stories of shadows in the windows, screams echoing through empty halls. It was the kind of location that practically begged for a viral video. My name is Leo, and I'm the ringleader of our so-called ghost hunting crew. I'd always been the one to push the limits, to turn a dare into a challenge. We weren't real ghost hunters, just four friends chasing a thrill and maybe a viral video. We'd watched enough horror movies to know the rules, but that didn't stop us from breaking every single one. Sam was the skeptic, always ready with a logical explanation and a first aid kit. He claimed he didn't believe in ghosts, but he was the first to pack extra batteries and bandages just in case. Ben, our tech guy, obsessed over gadgets more than ghosts. He'd spent days rigging up cameras, motion sensors, and audio recorders, convinced that if there was anything out there he'd catch it. Chloe, my best friend, was scared of everything. She was only here because I dared her, and because she never wanted to be left out, even if it meant facing her worst fears. I told her it'd be fun, but deep down I knew I was pushing her too far for the sake of views. Sometimes I wondered if I was being a good friend or just a reckless showman. Still, the promise of internet fame drowned out my doubts. The thought of thousands watching us live, waiting for something to happen, was too tempting to resist. We came armed with cameras, EMF detectors, and enough gear to catch a ghost in 4K. Ben double-checked every battery and lens, making sure nothing would be missed. Ben swore he'd catch any supernatural sneeze on audio. He even brought a thermal camera, just in case the ghosts were shy. I promised my viewers the scare of a lifetime. I wanted them to feel like they were right there with us, hearts pounding in the dark. We stood before the asylum's rusted gates, the building looming like a monster in the dying light. The air felt colder, heavier, as if the place itself was daring us to enter. I grinned at my camera, masking my nerves. My hands were shaking, but I kept my voice upbeat for the audience. "Ready for a spooky night, legends?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. The chat was already blowing up with dares and ghost emojis. The others exchanged uneasy glances. No one wanted to be the first to back out, not with the world watching. The sun dipped below the horizon, shadows stretching across the cracked pavement. The world outside faded away, leaving only us and the asylum. We stepped into the darkness, chasing something we didn't understand, hoping for a scare, but not knowing what we'd find inside. The main doors groaned open, releasing a wave of cold, musty air that seemed to seep into our bones. The scent of age and neglect was overwhelming, as if the building itself exhaled decades of secrets and sorrow. Sam hugged her jacket tighter, shivering despite the layers. "Just the temperature drop," she muttered, but her eyes darted around, searching the shadows for something she couldn't name. The silence pressed in, broken only by our footsteps echoing down the corridor. My camera's light cut through the gloom, revealing a grand staircase with peeling paint curling away like old scabs. The banister, once elegant, was now splintered and warped, hinting at the grandeur that had long since faded. Overturned gurneys and wheelchairs littered the foyer, their metal frames twisted and rusted. Medical charts and broken glass crunched underfoot, reminders of the chaos that once reigned here. "Ben, set up base camp here," I said, pointing to a clear spot near the wall, away from the worst of the debris. We needed a safe zone, a place to regroup if things got out of hand. Ben unpacked his gear, already lost in his screens, checking battery levels and adjusting night vision settings. He barely glanced up, his focus absolute. Chloe lingered at the doorway, clutching her flashlight so tightly her knuckles whitened. "Leo, I don't like this. It feels wrong." Her voice was barely above a whisper, trembling with unease. I tried to reassure her, forcing a smile. "That's the point, Chloe. It's supposed to be spooky." But even I could feel the tension in the air, thick and electric. She wouldn't meet my eyes, staring up at the shadowed landing as if expecting something or someone to appear. We ignored the early warnings, doors slamming in the distance, strange noises echoing through the halls. Sam blamed the wind, Ben blamed rats, but deep down, none of us truly believed our own excuses. We explained away every flicker of shadow, every chill that crept up our spines, determined not to let fear get the better of us. Armed with logic and tech, we thought we were in control, our gadgets and bravado our shield against the unknown. But the asylum was watching, waiting for us to wander deeper, its silence heavy with anticipation. We pressed on, blind to the trap we'd just entered, our curiosity outweighing our caution. The building seemed to breathe around us, its walls shifting with every step, as if alive and aware of our presence. We had no idea what we'd awakened, or how quickly the asylum would make us question everything we thought we knew. An hour in, the fun faded. The thrill of exploring the unknown was quickly replaced by a creeping sense of dread. Every step echoed, bouncing off the cracked tiles and broken glass, making the silence feel even heavier. We explored the west wing, patient rooms yawning open like hungry mouths. The air was thick with dust and the scent of mold, each doorway promising secrets best left undisturbed. That's when we heard it, a whisper, faint, but everywhere. It seemed to seep from the walls, curling around us, impossible to ignore. I froze, my breath catching. "Did you guys hear that?" My voice sounded small, swallowed by the darkness. Ben frowned, squinting at his recorder. "Weird audio spike, too much static." The device crackled, the screen flickering as if something unseen was interfering. The whispers grew louder, slithering around our ears, impossible to pinpoint. It felt like they were inside our heads, threading through our thoughts. Sam insisted it was just the wind, but she kept glancing back, her eyes wide and searching the shadows behind us. The air turned icy, a chill that crept into our bones. Our breath hung in the air, visible and trembling as if the building itself was exhaling. Then the whispers took shape. I heard my name. Liu. Drawn out, almost loving, but twisted. I spun, heart pounding in my chest. The hall was empty, but the feeling of being watched was overwhelming. "Who said that?" I demanded, my voice trembling, echoing down the corridor. Ben's eyes were wide. "I heard it too, right next to me." His hand shook, the flashlight beam jittering across the walls. Chloe whimpered, "It's in my head, it's telling me to get out, we're all going to die." Her voice was barely a whisper, but it cut through the tension like a knife. Ben's equipment glitched, feeds flickered, EMF meters screamed into the red. The tech was failing us, just when we needed it most. The whispers swelled, a crowd murmuring all around us, pressing in from every direction, making it hard to breathe. We weren't alone. Something was watching, lurking just out of sight, feeding on our fear. The tech failed, the air thickened. Every breath felt like inhaling fog, heavy and suffocating. Shadows danced at the edge of our vision, flickering shapes that vanished when we tried to focus. We realized we were being toyed with. The asylum was playing games, and we were losing. The asylum was alive, and it had noticed us. Our bravado was crumbling, replaced by a primal fear that we couldn't shake. Panic set in when the hallway changed. We reached a dead end, debris blocking the way. "We'll try the east wing," Sam said, checking her map. But when we turned, the corridor behind us was gone, replaced by a solid brick wall. Ben slapped the wall. "No, that's impossible, we just came from there." Sam's map showed a clear corridor. The wall wasn't on any blueprint, we were trapped. The asylum was rearranging itself. My confidence vanished. I tried to narrate, but my voice shook. "Folks, you're not going to believe this. The building, it's changing." A door creaked open to our left, darkness beckoning. Chloe was on the verge of panic, pressed against the wall. "It knows we're here, it's playing with us," she sobbed. The whispers returned, louder, mocking. We were no longer ghost hunters, just prey in a shifting maze. The asylum was in control. Every step forward was a step deeper into its trap. Our logic and tech meant nothing now. The walls themselves were our cage. We had to keep moving. There was no turning back. The open door led to an old operating theater, a single rusty table under a dusty lamp. The air was thick with the stench of old blood and antiseptic. Chloe froze, staring at the table. "I know this place. I've seen it in my dreams." Her nightmares had always been about a room like this. Now, it was real. The asylum was targeting us, using our deepest fears. The surgical lamp flickered on. Chloe screamed, pointing at the table. For a moment I saw it too, a pale figure, eyes wide with terror. Chloe saw herself on that table, living her worst nightmare. She collapsed, sobbing, lost in terror. The whispers became mocking laughter, echoing from the empty seats. The asylum was feeding on her fear, growing stronger. As we tried to help Chloe, the temperature dropped. A shadow formed, a tall figure in a stained doctor's coat. Its face was a blur, but its gaze was cold and cruel. This was the master of the asylum, Dr. Alistair Blackwood. Ben's EMF meter shrieked, then died. My camera went black. The entity stepped forward, surgical tools rising into the air. Legend said Dr. Blackwood believed fear was the cure and he never left. Now, he was here for us. He focused on Chloe, drawn to her terror. Sam stood between them, flashlight raised. "Get away from her!" I was frozen, realizing how foolish my quest for fame had been. This was real. The danger was real. And the doctor was not here to be filmed. Sam's defiance amused the entity. A scalpel shot past her, embedding in the wall. That snapped me out of it. "Run!" I yelled, dragging Chloe as we fled. We raced through shifting corridors, the doctor gliding after us. Doors slammed, others opened, hurting us deeper. The whispers vanished, replaced by our frantic breaths and the doctor's steady steps. Ben lagged behind, weighed down by his gear. He tripped, scattering equipment. "Go on without me!" he shouted. I hesitated, but the doctor's shadow loomed. I pulled Chloe away, guilt burning as Ben's scream echoed behind us. Now it was just me, Sam, and a catatonic Chloe. We barricaded ourselves in a children's ward, hands shaking. The fame I'd chased felt like poison. I'd led my friends into hell. The barricade didn't last. The door shuttered, the bed frame scraping as an unseen force pushed in. Chloe was lost, rocking in the corner, eyes vacant. With a final crash, the door burst open. Dr. Blackwood stood in the doorway, darkness incarnate. He raised a hand, the room came alive, cribs rocked, dolls turned their heads. Sam grabbed a crib leg and charged, but the doctor stopped her mid-swing, lifting her off her feet. She was tossed aside, silent and still. Now it was just me and Chloe. The doctor turned to me, his void-like face boring into my soul. Terror surged, but so did anger, at him and at myself. My pride had led us here. I looked at Chloe, broken in the corner, and knew I couldn't let him win. My fear was real, but it wasn't in control anymore. I ran to Chloe, pulling her up. "Chloe, fight it! Don't let him win!" Her eyes flickered, a spark of recognition. The doctor glided closer, cold radiating from him. I stood between him and Chloe, desperate. "You want fear? Take me instead." The doctor paused, considering. In that moment I wasn't Leo the vlogger, just a scared kid trying to save his friend. I braced for the end, but it didn't come. Chloe tugged my sleeve, her eyes clearing. She stepped forward. "No, you don't get to have us." Dawn's first light pierced the window, striking the doctor. He recoiled, dissolving into smoke. The room stilled, the cold lifted. We didn't wait, we ran, the asylum now just a decaying building. We found the foyer, doors open to the morning. We collapsed outside, gasping for air. We had survived, but we were changed. Ben and Sam were gone, casualties of my pride. I looked at Chloe, pale but resolute. We'd come seeking fame, but found something else. True courage isn't about not being afraid, it's about standing up anyway, for the people you care about.